Welcome back to another episode of Richmond Real Talk, where you can find real teens have real talk about real stuff. This is your host, DJ Silver, and today I'm joined with our very own Creighton.
Hello.
And my co-worker, Lawrence.
Hello.
All right. Thank you for showing up today. It's kind of last minute. I didn't think we were actually going to be starting this at
Thanks
all.
for having us.
I appreciate it.
We appreciate it.
I appreciate y'all. All right, now let's go ahead and dive straight into it with the quote of the day. So, for the quote of the day, I actually have this on my lock screensaver, and I just want to know what the two of you think about it because I look at this every day, and I've always been big on like inspirational quotes that are short and sweet. I don't need anything that's like really long or drawn out, but something short and sweet to the point that hits really hard so that I could actually save it and look at it. So this is one of the quotes that I've had on my lock screen on my iPhone for a very long time. And it says, "Don't forget what you're fighting for. Don't forget who you love. Don't forget where you come from. Don't forget the people who have helped you. Don't forget gratitude. Don't forget tranquility. Don't forget to keep pushing."
That's a good quote.
It is. And what I'm saying is, don't lose yourself. Like a translation.
Yep.
That's what I'm saying.
That's actually true. I think actually not losing yourself, I think, kind of accumulates like all these lines and
It
everything.
really is. At least that's what I got
and
from
everything.
it.
I mean, you know, growing up, there's ever since I can remember, there's always been really like hard moments in times of tribulation and everything. So I've always tried to have something where I could kind of look on every day to kind of remind me and stuff as a reminder, because I know the more you kind of immerse yourself around certain things, it kind of creates a mindset for you. So this is something, one of those quotes that sometimes I'll write my own, which I think is really beneficial because nobody knows you better than yourself.
True.
Other times I'll go ahead and I'll find something that I get inspired by or something that I see. You know what's funny is WorldStar actually has some really good quotes sometimes.
Yeah.
Have you seen any of the WorldStar?
No.
It is not
really. They,
maybe
you know, I'm not that active on Instagram, just because I think it's a little too superficial. So a lot of the stuff I'll follow is like I don't know. I follow different type of stuff, but and WorldStar is one of the things I follow. WorldStar fell off a lot for me. I don't really like a lot of the content they put on there now, but every once in a while they'll put on inspirational quotes that actually hit really, really close to home, and I'm like really surprised by some of the things that they're able to show and see. Anyway, Crane, what are some of the things or some quotes or some stuff that you kind of surround yourself around so you can have a positive mindset?
I don't know, man. Like, I just try to, like, loaded question. Okay. So what I'm saying is that for me and everything, I look for, like, whenever, like, I try to do, like, my own, like, movie reviews or whatever, like, I try to, like, accumulate, like, a saying that, like when I'm, like, talking about the movie and everything, like, okay, this movie teaches, like, this and this message and everything, and I'm just trying to, like, accumulate it. So, like, okay, so
almost like a tagline.
The tagline and everything, so I can, like, so this, like, connects to it and everything, so I can try to find the deeper meaning in all of it. So that's where I started using, like, my inspirational quotes from. I only included that in my movie reviews recently and everything. So that's pretty much how I try to, like, make it, like, deeper, but you know what I mean.
So do you find movie? So when you're watching movies, do you find quotes within the movies to be able to surround yourself by?
Yeah, and I do that a little bit.
Or is it more kind of like when you watch a movie, the overall feeling you get?
Like, internalize it and then use the quotes sometimes from, like, certain movies and everything. Like Rocky, I did that a lot for, like, the Rocky review and everything, and I don't know, because, like, that one, like, gets me every time. Or like the Iron Giant one where, like, he was sort of talking about, like, how you are who you choose to be and everything, and I'm like, he's cutting me real deep, man. And so I was just thinking about
from which movie?
The Iron Giant.
The Iron Giant.
So just an example. So all I'm saying is that those are the ones that I use and everything, and, like, that one got me and everything, and I'm like, wow, you know, it's for kids movie. This is kind of deep, you know what I mean? So I just use that for me pretty much, but you know what I mean.
I think it's important though where you have those type of moments in even children's movies.
You do.
Yeah.
Because then you can instill it early. Because you can have some quotes and stuff like
is.
still hit home for anybody of any age.
It is, because kids are like sponges. They're like, that's the thing about it.
You can establish a good mindset.
It is, and you want to give them like some nutrition early so they're not like,
That's true.
Right.
So you got to do that early.
How about you, Brother Lawrence?
I don't really have too many quotes because I don't know. I just never really been that into it. But there's one from the Buddha, and it's "Be here now." And to me, that means like, be in the moment, because I feel like a lot of us, especially now in this day and age, we're so immersed in like what other people are doing. Like we're living our lives vicariously through people in our phone.
It really is.
So I feel like be here now is just like, just be in the moment. Like enjoy a nice day. Like actually go outside and kick it outside and just be like, oh snap, I never noticed such and such.
Yeah.
I think I've done that recently where I've gone like on a walk around my house, because we have like 2 parks, and I didn't know that they were connected through a bridge. There's like a giant wooden bridge that connects the 2 parks. I never even noticed that. So if I have just took the time to explore, I would have never found that out. And now I go there all the time. So
it's crazy that you bring that up too, because people, their way of going outside and exploring and kind of detaching themselves, they'll bring their phone with them.
Yeah.
And then when they're walking around like nature of the park and everything, they'll start being on their phone.
Yeah.
It is.
If they go on a hike and they don't get signal, they're freaking out more about trying to get the signal
Yeah,
than they
that's
are
the
about
thing.
actually like enjoying the moment too.
Yeah, be here now.
It is. I don't even like bring my phone half the time really, because I'm just trying to like say be in the moment and everything, and I don't know.
I think it's important to detach yourself from technology sometimes. I feel like I wish there would be one day out of the week where they just completely shut technology down, or at least shut all that down.
It is.
And everybody,
and I'm with that too.
Yeah, I mean, you couldn't do that in this country, because if you try to pass a law where you do that, everyone's be like, "Oh, it's fascist. Oh, it's Nazi."
It's fascist, and everyone's triggered. Everyone.
Yeah, and then because you're forcing people to unplug themselves, and a lot of people don't want to unplug themselves. But I feel like that's something. I wish that's something that they could. I remember I had my Facebook and my Instagram and everything open for the longest time, and I actually went through a period where I canceled all of it. Now, of course, they make you jump through so much hoops to try to cancel it.
Yeah.
Like I spent literally like 2 to 3 hours trying to jump through all the loops, figuring out how to cancel it. Like had the YouTube stuff. They really don't want you to cancel it. But I remember I canceled everything. My Instagram, Snapchat, like Facebook. I canceled all of it. And I went for like, I think a year to a year and a half without having any of it. And I'm telling you, it's actually, you don't notice it.
It's really satisfying because it like I don't miss much, because like I had like my whole saying for like Facebook and everything. It's like the refrigerator. Like I keep going to it all the time, but there's nothing new there. So that's the thing.
Like if I could not have my phone, I wouldn't. I think with me, I'm a little bit older, so I do remember a time where no one really had cell phones, and that would be like when I was in high school, and we were fine.
See, people didn't start getting. Everybody had a cell phone, I'd say, at around 2004.
2004 and
2004, 2005.
Yep.
It is.
So I was about 11 to 12 when everybody started really having a cell phone.
I was like 5 back then, so I'm just...
And that's when I started working here, was like 2005. So that just puts everything into perspective. It's like 3 different generations. You know what I'm saying?
But it's crazy how it's not even that long ago when like people didn't have cell phones, or a cell phone was like, you had a cell phone if you had money.
Yes.
Yeah.
But then you think about like now people couldn't maneuver, like if
you can't
you can't really do that. Yeah.
It'd be like I haven't have you ever been to the Richmond Beach Library?
No.
I remember in the Richmond Beach Library they had payphones. They had 3 payphones outside.
Yeah.
Those payphones are gone.
Yeah.
You can't find a single. If I say go find your nearest payphone.
Yeah.
Just 10 years ago.
It's obsolete now.
Let's see, we're in 2020. Okay, so like just 10 plus years ago, there were still payphones around.
Not even. Like, I remember them being payphones maybe 5.
5 years?
5.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
5,
there's no
maybe.
payphones.
Now there's not.
Or if you do find a payphone, it's all broken down.
Yeah,
like,
you can't use it.
It is. Can't do it now.
But like I said, like if I could really not have my cell phone, I just wouldn't have it. But
It
then
is.
like like it's so more convenient to have one now. Like
It really is.
just with the simple fact of I use my phone a lot for listening to music in the car.
Yeah.
So, you know what I'm saying? I connect the Bluetooth when I listen to the music in the car. Like, I'm like, dang, man,
It
like,
is.
I do not like, I mean, I like not having to put a CD and search for a CD in my car.
skip through
It is.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Or
It
like,
is the thing.
have a stack of CDs in my lap when I'm driving and I'm not really paying attention to the road. Like, I like
It is.
being able to just do it on the thing.
So-
you know what I'm saying?
so-
on the screen.
It is, and also I'm sort of stuck in a situation where I kind of have to use my phone. I kind of have to be connected to the internet, like when I'm at like school and everything, because
Right.
that's another problem with it. Because like I have to like constantly be printing stuff out and like constantly like I have to constantly like do like my phone and everything. Then I got like these finals and everything where it's like all of this needs to be submitted online. So
that's the other thing.
so I kind of can't get off it, like even if I wanted to sometimes. But that's just me.
Crane, did I take your water?
No, man, it's down here.
Okay. I thought I was drinking this water for a minute. I was like,
because
damn,
I'm gonna do this one time. But
Yeah.
Well, I think this is a good transition to our next topic, which would be the topic of the day. Since we're already talking about detaching ourselves and living in the moment and how it is now versus how it was back then. For the topic of the day, what I wanted to bring up specifically for you, Creighton, is what it means to actually be 19, 18 years old in today's day and age versus how it was before. Some of like the perks about it, some of the challenges about it, what's great about it, what's not so great about it. And just because we have like a little bit of a gap here, you know, Lawrence, are you 10 years older than me?
Probably I will be 37 June 30th.
Okay, so you're a little over 10 years older than me. Creighton, I'm about 6 years older.
6 years older, and maybe.
Yeah, so we have a little bit of a
perfect.
gap in like
Yeah.
compare and contrast. So Creighton, what are some of the perks about being your age in today's world, or what's some of the things that are not so great about it?
Probably the best part about it is I'm more like seasoned to like the atmosphere around me and everything, and I know what's happening and everything, and I'm like sort of entrenched myself in like the whole like internet and like typing all the time and everything, and I'm sort of like getting like better at that over time. The worst part is like sort of like those photos you see on like I'm just saying Instagram, then like you see like that one friend and everything, and like they're off to like universities and everything, and I'm like, and then I'm like, I never got that dude's number and everything, and I'm like, I don't know if I'm gonna see that dude again and everything, and I'm like, I don't know, you just sort of get like sentimental about it, like they're like out there and everything, and I don't know, you get kind of envious, or at least I do, at least. So.
But it's like it makes it easier for you to kind of stay in touch. Is that what you're saying? Like in this day and age? Like for me, in my day and age, once somebody moved away, you just really didn't see them anymore. Not
really
unless you got their address in snail mail. You know what I'm saying?
Snail mail, that's the thing, at least.
Got their house phone number.
Yeah,
the
house phone
number
number
changes all the time.
It is.
Sometimes it gets disconnected.
It
They
is.
don't live at the house no more.
It is at
Like,
least.
So I'm envious of you guys because you guys have the ability to stay in touch with each other through large distances, and we didn't get a chance to do that.
It is.
Yeah, you can connect to somebody that's halfway across the world.
Yep.
Yeah,
Through
you could.
just Facebook alone.
But I don't know, man.
And Messenger.
I can message somebody who's in China
FaceTime.
right now. It's so crazy.
But I don't know, man. Like I don't know. I'm kind of old school with that. Like I prefer face-to-face interactions and
course.
everything more so than like on like texting, because I don't feel fulfilled with that really.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. Like maybe I'm kind of old school with that. I want face-to-face interactions because I feel like it way more often than not.
And that's the thing when it comes to social media though, is that you can be jealous, but you're only seeing such a finite amount of what that person.
Yeah,
like
you don't.
I haven't talked to
really.
homie. I haven't talked to home dude since high school. I haven't messaged him on Facebook or anything like that. I'm thinking, well, he's playing Major League Baseball. Like I'm sure he has a million people trying to hit him up on Facebook.
Yeah.
You know, like, so I'm not going to do that. But eventually, during the 10-year high school reunion, I'll bet I'll see him. I'll talk to him, congratulate him and everything. But I don't know what sacrifices he had to make to get to that point. He may have achieved his dream and he may not even be happy. Like, you never really know. But see, social media, it's like Instagram. Let's just take, because Instagram's a pretty good platform. You only see a finite amount of somebody's life. You see what they allow you to see.
They allow you to
so
see.
You're getting, so you have the potential to get like jealous of it. But you're not really, your life could be better than theirs.
It is.
They just know how to make it more flashy.
It is, because like it could be a facade, to be honest.
Yeah.
Like it'd be a mask that they put on, like when like go on the internet and everything, and it doesn't tell the whole story really. So that's kind of where it finesses your mind half the time. So you kind of don't get the full story. Then you sort of start recognizing that, because
it kind of depends on who. Well, again, it's age. Because when you get to my age, you're almost 40, people stop fronting. They really do. Like, I mean, like, I remember, like, probably when Instagram first came out, it was like that with my group of friends. Now I'm starting to see more things about, like, parents dying and them posting things like that, or, like, them going through certain moving issues, stuff like that. I'm starting to see that more within the past, like, 5 or 6 years with my group of friends. And I think once you get older, like I said, the front end stops, because you can only hide from yourself for so long. People are gonna know. People know you, and you know what I'm saying. You kicking it around around.
So around your age, it's almost as if they start posting real things.
Yes,
real things,
and yeah, because then we know the differences. Because at this point, I've known most of my friends my whole life, and I know that car is leased.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So, like, you posting a picture of your car, dog, I know it's leased. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So, you can't front no more.
It is. You know what I'm saying? You can't really, because
it's not even your car.
It's not even your car. It's your girl's car.
Yeah, and it's your mom's car.
Yeah, so the stakes are higher when you get caught lying about those things when you get older. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm nearing 40, so, like, you can't be fronting on stuff, and you get called out. It's way more consequences. But when you're in your 20s and when you're in your teens, you get called out on something. People forget about it.
Yeah, you
they don't
forget
care
about it.
Like,
it's not.
What's sad about that too is, like, all right, so say I'm going out, right? I go to a certain place,
right,
with a certain type of people, and there's a lot of it.
Yep.
With some music and people having fun. Instead of being in that moment, about half of the people there have their phones out and they're Snapchatting and are taking pictures and video.
Yeah.
So they're not interacting.
They're not really.
Yeah.
They're not creating, like, real relationships and everything. It just sort of turns artificial by
now,
that point.
I'm being careful because I'm saying only about half.
Yeah.
There is the other half, which I'm included, that doesn't even think to pull out their phone.
Yeah.
No.
Like, I talk to my friend all the time. I'm like, I sometimes I want to, like, document the fun that I'm having, but I'm so in the moment. The last thing I think is, let me pull out my phone and film this.
That's the problem, because it takes me out of the moment.
Yeah.
And two, it's the problem. There's a reason why I like to say, just, I don't take notes during movies, because that distracts me and everything, and it just takes me in that's the situation. It takes me out of the moment, really, myself, and it just does. It feels like it does. You don't feel it really at that moment.
You're not 100% immersed.
You're not immersed really.
You're not feeling what it's
you're not really
at that time.
Yeah.
I guarantee you, the people who don't have their phones out all have one thing in common: they are of a certain age.
That may be true.
Possibly.
You know because when me and my group of friends, the rare occasion that we do go out, none of us are on it, because we came up doing that without being on our phone.
Yeah.
And you'll notice that the younger people there, they're always on it.
Oh, it's
like,
it is.
But
it really
it's like almost like a gradual. The older you get, and you can see it, it's the less and less people.
It's crazy. It's crazy.
Because we making the memory, because we know that we had it without technology, and all of our stories are from our memory. We're like, oh man, remember when you did it? Like, dude, that was like in high school. Yeah. Because we couldn't document it. Imagine how bad our memory would be if we documented everything. Like,
and let me touch on that too. If you guarantee that some of those stories that you have and those memories you have wouldn't have been created because you would have been on your phone, trying to document something.
Yeah, you're definitely right.
So the split second that triggered a certain story or memory to happen for you to remember wouldn't have happened because you're on your phone.
Yeah,
it is.
So that's another thing of not being in the moment.
Yeah.
Now you missed out on a complete, great, fantastic, fun, crazy memory.
It is
because you're being sidetracked on something else. Now, I mean, I don't want to knock phones or social media or technology or anything like that at all. I think it's beautiful. As a matter of fact,
it's good in moderation, but
exactly, in moderation though.
Yeah,
and I think because it's such a new technology for us, and because we're just, I mean, people didn't start getting cell phones until this decade.
This decade, and
we're oversaturating ourselves because we're so blown away by how it is that I think gradually we'll start to kind of hopefully gradually we'll start to do it in moderation.
It is, and I was sort of like,
I mean, I think I'm gonna speak from age again. It's gonna get worse.
You think so?
It's gonna get worse
because peep it, I'm coming from a generation that in order to navigate through this world now, I have to be on the internet. Like, in order to even apply for a job, you have to have internet access. You have to do it online. There's no more paper applications. So imagine the next generation after you guys, or after you, Creighton, like, they're going to be totally dependent on doing things that way. They're not even going to probably know how to, their writing skills aren't going to be good. Like, I'm talking about their actual
penmanship
is not going to be that good because you've been typing your whole life. You haven't written with a pencil. So
it is.
I feel like it's going to get way worse.
Probably. That's
but it's up to people like us to pass down this knowledge to our kids and their kids and their kids and their kids, and then there'll be the few that actually take physical pictures and write physical notes and do all the things that feel better when you have them, because you can't hold a physical you can't hold a text message. Think about like a letter. I remember I got a letter from a friend who was away, and like I pull it out and I read it, and it's holding the same paper that he held and reading the
it's more
the words. It feels
it's more
different.
fulfilling.
That's something to kind of bring it into like a movie. Like, wait, Lawrence, have you seen Blade Runner? The new Blade Runner?
Yes.
Yeah,
okay. So you know when they talk about the blackout that happened?
Yeah.
And it just erased everything. It's like we can't even find documents because it's all electronic.
It is. It is. And
that's something that's very plausible.
Yes.
Like, I feel like that's something that is definitely could actually happen, because I'm the same way. Like, I'd rather have something like written down on paper. Like when I go into class, like even when I go into class now, when I'm in class, there, people are taking notes. A lot of people will pull out iPads, and computers. Half the class will pull out iPads and computers and start like typing all the notes down, documenting all the notes down through that. I'm old school. I literally take out two pens, a pencil.
Pen.
I take out a notepad and I just physically write it.
And I physically write it.
There's just something about that that's more cerebral to me.
To me,
I feel more engaged like that.
To me, I don't know if this is like a common thing or like a scientifically proven fact, but for me, I remember things more if I physically write it down. Maybe because we all text in such high volume, it's easy to forget your text message because you don't have to necessarily recall it by memory because you can pull it up on your phone. So you don't really need to remember it. But like something you've written down, you physically have pen to paper written it down, you remember it more. For me, I do.
No, that's true. That's a studying method. My uncle was telling me about that. He said one of the biggest studying methods is to, when you write all your notes down in class, then when you go to study for your notes, take a paper, write those very exact notes again.
It is.
Because the act of actually writing it down and using
motor skills,
a lot of movement and eye coordination to do it. It's using more to have your brain locked in.
It is, and I remember.
Now, back to full circle, my bad. Back to full circle. Think about the generation that's going to grow up never doing that. How are they going to... They're going to be able to function as long as technology allows them to, which is something that I think makes you totally dependent on technology, and I don't want to be totally dependent on anything.
No.
That doesn't necessarily mean that I don't want to know what's going on. You have to catch up with the times. I got to teach my kids to be able to navigate because I don't want them at a disadvantage. But I also want them to know that this might not be here forever. But I know that you're going to be able to physically write something on something for as long as you're here.
I don't know. Like, I remember stuff, like, you made a great point. I remember stuff more if I write it down myself and everything, and I don't really feel fulfilled as much like if I like just type it up and everything. So I don't know. So that, because same situation with you, like I see like laptops and everything, and I'm like, nope, I'll keep my pen. Thank you very much. But you know what I mean. So
and see, there's two things there's two things I see going to that direction, right? And they're both contradicting. They both play like devil's advocate for each other. Because on one hand, you could say, okay, technology has been with us since the birth of fire. Fire was the first technological achievement that we had. So when you're seeing fire progress, fire turned into the Stone Age, turned into the technological age, the industrial age, so on and so forth. We've always written stuff.
Yes.
We always did stuff like that. So you could say, so this is just another thing to add on, but that doesn't mean it's going to take away certain motor skills, and it's going to take away our ability to physically write and do things like that. But then, on the flip side, you could argue, okay, that may be true, and we may have lasted thousands of years with technology already at our disposal, and we still kept those things going, but we have never hit an advanced technological state like we have now.
Well,
From the year 2000 on, the rate of how our technological achievements are going
has gone up
really
dramatically.
Way before any other point in human history.
Yep.
Yeah, easily.
The way we're able to think about the differences between 2000 to 2018. Insane.
Night and day.
Insane. There's no other period of time where you could see where we progressed so fast like that.
I would even say think about 2005 to 2018.
Yeah. I say 2010 to 2018.
Yeah, there you go.
2010 to 15 because like it's just dramatic.
Nobody had 2010. Not every single person had a smartphone.
Right.
Not everyone.
In 2010, I still had a flip phone.
Yep.
2011, I had an LG. The LG,
with the pad still on it.
Goes to the side.
Pad
You had a pad on it.
Yep.
It is.
And everything like that. 2012 is when I got my first smartphone.
Yeah.
2012 was 6 years ago.
Yeah, 2012.
I'll tell you guys this story. My older brother went away for a little bit, and when he came home, he went away for 7 years, and when he came home, I gave him my phone to call our mom, and he looked at it and he was like, "Where are the buttons?" And I was like, "What you mean?" I'm like, "Wait, oh yeah." He was like, "There's no buttons on this phone," and I was like, "No, it's a touch screen." And he was like, "Touch screen?" So that was just
it was like
him being alien.
Really
so
is.
that's just 7 years. So think about how far you're behind if you miss out on technology within that time. Now think about a generation. You know what I'm saying? Like say like, I don't know what the next generation is going to be like. I mean, we're getting to the point where you don't even need to type it in your phone anymore. You can say it.
And it records it.
And it records it for you.
You can record it.
Are you really going to even need to type anymore?
Not really.
You can have like Siri or whatever the thing is in your house that you just say things in your house and then it does it. Like,
it is, and
that's why I like that show Black Mirror.
Yeah, me too.
It is
because it's all about technology.
So I'm saying is I feel like with just typing and everything, like just like you're saying with like the whole Siri thing, I feel like it's made me lazier, to be honest. Like I don't know, because like with like pen and paper, I have to like put in the extra effort to like get everything down and everything. But with that, I'm like, just save it and like plaster it right here and everything. Like when I'm like, so I don't know, it just sort of suck the effort out of me half the time. But I don't know if that's just me.
I mean, the one benefit that goes into that, I'll say, is like for me, I have really bad handwriting, and it's not just because I'm too lazy to get great penmanship. I actually used to practice. I used to practice writing in cursive all the time. My grandma forced me to learn calligraphy when I was like 10. I was like, and I was like, "Grandma, why am I learning this? Like, ain't nobody gonna write calligraphy."
Right. Yeah.
And she was on me. She's like, "Because you need to know good penmanship."
Yeah.
Right. And because she's coming from where everything was handwritten.
Yep.
Right. You document was handwritten.
Yep.
It's the only typing they had was on a typewriter.
Actual typewriter.
And that was a pain.
Yep.
To use a typewriter, because if you mess up, there's no just delete button.
True.
You gotta white it out. You gotta swap it. So you had to single type, take your time with it, and you could write stuff faster. So she was teaching me calligraphy. The thing with me is that I've taken so much damage to my hands. I've dislocated fingers, shattered thumb joints, broken thumbs. I got both my thumbs are broken. I had to get surgery on my right one. My left one never got fixed, so it's all deformed. In not including my knuckles and through various things. So both my hands are so damaged, right? That
it's hard to write.
It's really hard for me to write. I can't have that great penmanship, or I have to work a lot harder for the penmanship because my hand will start shaking. I got tendonitis in my wrist. Like my hands are completely shot for being only 24 years old.
It is.
So that's where typing for me comes into play. But the act of writing on paper, I love more than typing.
It is because
and it's like, well, kind of full circle. It's like I feel like we type so much useless crap because it's easier to type. You know what I'm saying?
That's what I'm saying.
But think about, like, in your case, if you write something down, that means it means something. That means you really need to remember it, or it really means something.
I really need to make it legible.
Yes,
so
and I have
really
harder to do it. And I feel like we all need to do that. We all need to, like, be more conscious of the things that we are putting out in the world. And I think in this day and age, it's so easy to delete it. You can kind of delete it from your mind. You know what I'm saying? You can delete your bad text thread you had with your boyfriend. You can just delete that. You can delete that breakup. You know what I'm saying? But imagine if that person sent you a letter. Like I used to get a letter from, you know what I'm saying?
You burn that.
Yeah. I'm not.
And it's physically taking it and getting rid of it, as opposed to like just deleting it.
Deleting it,
like you're kind of not really. You know what I'm saying?
It's a lot harder to try to hide it in your pocket.
It is because like
it is.
You carry it with you and you have to physically get rid of it. So like, I talk about like how kids nowadays, they Google their facts and they know their facts verbatim because they Googled them.
Yeah.
And me, I know most of my facts because I physically was there in the time to remember when that happened. Like, I had a conversation with one of the kids here about like when Tupac died. I'm like, dude, I was in high school when he died, and I remember when it happened because someone came and told me Tupac died. Mm-hmm. You Googled when Tupac died.
Or you saw it on Facebook.
Or you saw it on Facebook.
Or you saw it
when
on
the
Facebook
anniversary
and
was. I
everything.
was like, dude, it's different for me
It's
than
really,
it is for you.
it really is.
You know what I'm saying?
It's
Because a
situation.
physical person came and told me, and I could see the look on their face, and it looked like they lost somebody they knew.
Yeah, well, let's talk about that for a second too, because that's another really important thing to touch on that I want to say is because, and that goes back into our whole overall concept of the generational thing and how it is being a certain age in today's time, right? You have so many people. I'm gonna refrain from the term internet warrior, because that is a little condescending. But let me say this. I'm gonna say this, right? You have people who will try to talk to you like they know a situation, like they're an expert on it, because I went on a couple internet sources and read about and saw a video or two.
It is, and
So
they talk about it like
I check my facts and I know what's up. Versus somebody who has lived, breathed, seen, and experienced it. Right? If I have somebody over here who's gonna teach me something, how are you teaching me? How'd you learn about it?
It is.
I studied it through a book and through a couple internet websites. And then I have somebody over here who's going to teach me the same exact thing. How do you know it? Because I have experience with it.
Have experience
Physical,
with it.
Or
personal
someone,
experience being immersed in it.
Yeah, or someone physically taught me how to do it.
Physically taught me how to do it and everything.
Like, the thing I think about it is b-boying. Like, I breakdance, right? And a lot of these kids, they get better, with air quotes, faster because they go on YouTube and see a tutorial. And then they look at me and they wonder why I'm so much older and so good is because I had my OG, the guy above me, come and teach me. Like, I asked him how to do a move. He sat me down and walked me through it physically, and my body works a certain way that other bodies don't. That's everybody. He could see it and then correct it right there. Now, if you're on YouTube watching the tutorial, you might do that move a lot better if you did it the opposite way. Or if you did it, your legs are longer, so if you kicked higher this way, somebody would have to physically see you to do that.
The person in the video's body could be different, too.
Exactly.
Like, it could be different.
And you're learning in a way that works for his body.
For him, not
is.
for you.
Not for you.
He can't see you and tell you how to do it. So that's the other downfall. It's like, again, back to facts and stuff. It's like they memorize the facts, they know the facts, but for somebody who's physically played the game of football, you know things that the person who went on and researched how to play the game of football does not know.
Exactly. And and I think that's a trend that's going on that I think is damaging, because that's with a lot of things now.
It is.
Because you cited some sources and you watch some videos on it on the internet that you think you know what you're talking about.
It is, but
you don't unless you physically have been through some experiences.
It really is.
And again, age is the best teacher.
Age is the best teacher and everything, and like, okay.
Same with experience.
Same with experience and everything, like, same people that say, like, okay, LeBron is the greatest all time, but they've never actually seen Michael Jordan play and everything.
Right.
And that's the situation where, like, they throw, like, the word goat around way too much.
Yes.
But they don't, but did you see Mike play? And they say, no, and because, like, you just didn't get the privilege to go see that, really, so that's the situation.
And the other thing I say to kids here is, like, we are all victims of the time that we are in.
We really are.
So, again, back to what you were saying, it was like, I grew up in the Jordan era. I was born in 1981. That means I started remembering things around middle school, which is around the time Jordan was super, super popping. You know what I'm saying? So, obviously, he's the best to me.
It is.
But my older brother is 9 years older than me, and he comes up in the era of Magic Johnson. I didn't see Magic. I was too young for that. You know what I'm saying? But he's like, dude, Magic was Jordan before Jordan, bro. Like, what do you mean? Like, he was the top before that.
Magic Johnson was nasty.
Yeah, so he was like, he's like, that's my Jordan is Magic.
Yeah, and that was
so I can't fault him for that.
It is, and
then people throw stats out that they Googled, but it's not even about that. It's about, like, the time you were in and what that player or person means to you because you saw it. You physically saw it.
Like, I physically saw it and everything. That's why, like, that's why I don't like say the words like Joe Montana, like with the old goat and everything, because like I didn't see it and everything. Like when I see that, I'm like, okay, Brady, because I actually saw like all of this happening like through like my time like on this earth. Really, Joe Montana, I'm like, okay, I read the stats, but I'm like, I didn't feel the moment because I couldn't be there at the moment really.
And I'm happy. Let me touch on two things.
Yeah.
Right. So Creighton, you make a really good point with the Jordan LeBron comparison, because I was having an argument with my friends the other day, because during the finals, when the finals were going on, the playoffs were going on, and they're the big LeBron fans. They're talking about LeBron.
It is.
And I told them, I'm like, I still think Jordan's my dude.
It is.
I can't get mad at you. Like, there's some good arguments for LeBron. But for me, Jordan's just a person.
Yeah, it is.
And they said, well, look at the numbers, look at LeBron, this and that. And then my friend said the very same thing. He said, I think what it is that you had an older generation grow up with Michael Jordan. So to them, that's what it is. But for us, we grew up with LeBron. But then I argued, I said, yeah, but I'm the same age as y'all. Actually, I'm a year older than you. And for me, it's Jordan.
Yeah.
It is.
And then I said, how much have you researched Jordan or watched Jordan? Right? I was like, you can't pigeonhole yourself and just look at numbers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, especially with sports.
Yes.
You have to look at how they got the numbers. Numbers are important, but you have to look at how they got it.
Because numbers.
So I remember putting on Michael Jordan highlights.
Yeah.
Right? And I said, okay, you've seen LeBron play, you know how he plays, you know what kind of athlete he is. Watch Jordan. So I put on Michael Jordan. They got a big TV. We're watching Michael Jordan highlights. They were all quiet and awe and said, okay, we forgot how balling Michael Jordan is. They had to stop and be like, you know what? Yeah, we forgot. You forget.
Yeah.
You forget how he got those numbers.
How he got there.
How the man played was insane.
Yeah.
And once they were seeing them, they were like, okay, they still go with LeBron.
Yeah.
But they understood a lot more because they were thinking I was crazy.
Yeah.
Until I put on the highlights, I put on the situations, the videos, and they started seeing Jordan do his thing. Yeah. And they were like, they took a step back. Was like, okay, nah, you're right. He was balling.
And
like,
you got to think about not a knock to any of the players, but they're victims of their time that they are in. You got to think about how much better sports medicine is with LeBron in the league than it was when Jordan's in the league.
Michael Jordan's in the league. He's like
so
another level.
You got to think about that too. So now, on paper, they look a certain way. But then when you think about the time they're in the league, what the competition is like in the league at the time that you're in it, who's on your team, who's coaching your team.
It is.
Who's, you know what I'm saying, who got injured. You know what I'm saying? Then the numbers start to make a little bit more sense. They have more context. So I feel like, back to what you're saying with like the social aspect of it, I feel like a lot of the stats come out, whatever is whatever, but then like you said, if you never walked on that path, you don't know that the reason why... I guess, for example, education is low, whatever, scores are low in these certain areas is because, guess what? We don't got no libraries.
Exactly. You know what I'm saying? You're saying it's just as easy as going in and just doing your homework and not be
we don't even have a library.
Where are you going to do your homework?
We don't have a teen center.
It is.
Like, it's so crazy to me to, like, talk to other friends, especially who live in California and who live in other places, and when I tell them I work at a teen center, they're like, we don't even have one of those.
They're not common.
They're not common at all.
We didn't. Where I was living at, we had no. And when I was in high school, there was no teen centers in California.
Yeah, it's crazy, and it's foreign to them.
They cost the local teen centers were the ones that were in the better neighborhoods, and they cost money.
Yeah, to go there.
They cost money to go there, and we were all like, "Why are we gonna pay money to go to a? Nah, we might as well just go to the gym then." At that point,
it is, and it's Yeah, I found myself in the same situation you were in, like, because, like, people, like, inviting me to, like, be in, like, Black Student Union when I was at, like, Shoreline and everything, and, like, I was perfectly willing, like, give it a try and everything, then, like, I go there, and let's just say the teacher was more Caucasian variety and everything, and I'm like this, I'm like, you teach this, but do you know the struggle, really? Like, are you down with the cause, really? Like, you teach it, but I'm like... I think
the teacher may know about it, but what is the experience?
Yeah, like I don't know, like that's my problem. That's why I was sort of like, I'm out, but you know what I mean. Yeah. So it was just that type of. It wasn't anything he did. I'm just saying, for me, I'm like, this doesn't feel right, you know.
Yeah, and I feel like that can not avoided, but that can be addressed if he addressed like, listen, I'm an ally. I'm not gonna try to pretend like I know your struggle, but I am an ally. You know what I'm saying? Like we do need allies, but it's up to the people who are in positions to be allies and want to be allies to tell us that that's what they are.
It is, and I respect.
So I feel like
talk like they know.
Yeah,
it is
just
like
tell us, look, I don't know, but I'm willing to try to help figure out.
You know what I'm
saying?
And don't act like what you're saying is a bunch of absolutes. So
yes, back to what you're saying about the social issues. It's like some people have the ball way more than others, so their stats look
are gonna get inflated.
And that's the argument I use for people who try to throw numbers at me. You said they're like, look, the population of the minority is smaller, yet their percentages is higher, right? I was like, because. And then you look at this population, right? The percentage is lower with the bigger population. I said because you have a bigger pool to pick from.
Yeah.
You have 12 people that did this here versus 5 people that did this here.
Yeah.
But because the overall population was at different levels, of course this percentage is going to look higher than this percentage.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean that more people, and they try to skew that type of thing.
Because again, it comes back to experiencing it. Other than not, because the people who don't experience it are going to pull numbers. People who have experienced it, they're going to pull from experience and memory.
Yeah, they don't need it.
They don't need to pull the numbers.
You'll need to pull sources.
Yeah,
pull sources, and like
the experience will speak for itself.
And
that's the other thing. There's so much information out there. It's easy not to believe someone.
This all goes back to pretty much the experience and also what it is to be alive right now. Being the age that we are, being in the date that's today in 2018, and kind of how that all comes together. So with that being said, I think that'll be a good way to close the topic of the day and go ahead and wrap up today's podcast. Now, before we go ahead and get going, there is one last final thing I did want to present before we go ahead and wrap up today's talk. This is going to spark a little bit of debate. So we'll keep it short and sweet. Would it be a good idea for LeBron to go to the West?
No.
It depends on the team.
If he goes to the Lakers?
No.
Please,
if he goes to any team on the West?
The Spurs.
The West? Okay.
Because...
Blazers.
I don't think he's going to Portland.
I know, I'm just saying you're doing the same thing as me, to be honest.
I'm not. Because LeBron has never been coached by a good coach, by an elite coach.
Greg Popovich is a good coach.
The Spurs have an elite coach. So I think you put him with an elite coach and a tried and true system. I feel like if he had to go to the West, that'd be the only place he could go because of those two reasons. Do I think that's going to happen? Probably not.
Do you think he'd like being coached by somebody like a Greg Popovich?
He would, because I feel like him and Pop
because he knows he's never had it.
He's never had it. Really.
He has been his own coach.
It is like, because And
he said he's the best coach in the league. You know what I'm saying? So why not go play for the best coach?
It is, and so there's incentive in him for that and everything, and they're a better matchup for Golden State, to be honest, and say like the Lakers, which is sort of like what. Okay, you brought Paul George in. Ooh, but
actually, I like Paul George, but I'm
like no. I like the dude, but I'm like, but is he man enough, good enough to take on the friggin' dynasty?
No,
like, really.
he is a central cog in the machine, but you need a lot more parts.
That's the problem, because
and part of that machine is coaching.
Exactly.
Coaching and everything.
That's a huge part. That's like 40% of it.
It is, because coaching, and it's a situation where I felt like Billy Donovan didn't really make Melo and Paul George better, really. I just sort of felt like he just felt like a cheerleader to me half the time.
He was managing the team, not coaching
he's
the team.
He's managing the team and everything, and he's just sort of like, he's like the yes man that's going to say the right words, really. But I doubt he's going to get in Melo's face to say, yo, dog, you have to step up right now. Yeah. Because he's just sort of allowing, the inmates to run the asylum, really.
Exactly. And a real coach would have had Melo come off the bench. I don't care if you don't want to or not. This is how we're going to win. You need to come off the bench.
It is, because, if that coach, existed, he would have been like, yo, man, you have to do this, because this is how I know you're gonna be able to get better and everything, and how the team's gonna get better. But no, he was just allowed to do it whatever the hell he wanted, and that was the situation.
So then, Creighton, let me ask you then, you don't think that it'd be a good idea for LeBron to go to the West?
I don't think he's going back to the NBA Finals.
But do you think it'd be a good idea for him to go to the West, or do you think he should stay in the East?
I feel like the East is a better situation. Like, if he wants to, like, guaranteed NBA Finals and everything so he can keep the streak going, because he's been to, like, 8 straight finals.
Yeah.
Like, if I want to keep the streak alive and everything, I would look at Philadelphia because it's at least a young nucleus with, like, young players and everything to, like, build a foundation and everything. Lakers, it's like it looks kind of interesting, but it's not the big, sexy, like, market that it once was, to be honest.
To me, it's the same thing, because if LeBron goes to either of those teams, it's the same thing, because he has young pups.
He has young pups and
he
everything.
has to kind of coach up, too.
He has to kind of coach up.
He doesn't need that at this point in his career. He needs established veterans.
Established veterans.
He needs to do as less as that as he wants. That's why Philly doesn't make sense to me, because the team's too young.
Team's too young and everything, so that's...
Now, the steps in the pieces that have to move in order for him to go there would make me think that team probably wouldn't look how it looks now.
It would.
But as the team is constructed now, it doesn't make sense for him to go there because they're too young.
I don't know, and I feel
he
like...
He would need to coach him.
I don't know. I feel like him, like, let's say with Aldridge, would gel really well, to be honest, and, like, there's, like, a mutual, like, you know, we're about the same age and everything, like, we're about, like, you know, like, I feel like a seasoned team would benefit his straights and everything.
Tony Parker, Manu, LaMarcus, they're an older team.
It is.
They kind of know how to win.
It is.
They've been there before.
It is, and they have a coach that's been there.
So you think it would be a good idea for LeBron to go to the West?
If it's the Spurs.
If he goes to the Spurs,
only if it's the Spurs. No other team makes sense.
No other team makes sense whatsoever.
And Creighton, you don't think it'd be a good idea?
I don't, because I feel like if he, like, I don't think he's going back to the NBA Finals if he goes to the West, really, because, there's this team he has to run into and this team. Let's just say, like, if Chris Paul re-signs with the Rockets, that's another hurdle he's going to have to go through. Other than that, like, in the East, it's like, what, Boston? You know?
Yeah. So here's why I think, man, if I was on First Take, Stephen A would be losing his cool. Here's why I think that LeBron going to the West, no matter what team it is, I don't, you know, whatever team it is, here's why I think him going to the West is good for the NBA. Hear me out.
Yeah.
Hear me out. What's the main complaint that you always hear? It's the same team every time.
Yeah.
Golden State and not the Cavs, but LeBron. Yeah. That's what it is in the East. No matter what team LeBron is with, it's always Golden State and LeBron, Golden State and LeBron, Golden State and LeBron. Every time. Yeah. That's so people are getting tired of seeing LeBron and Golden State face off in the finals.
It is.
If you take LeBron and put him in the West, you eliminate that.
But
the East is so lopsided that it's a sweep every single time.
But think about this, right?
Yeah, it is.
Think about this. That would force the East to have to step up their game and have to start pulling players from the West.
They have not done it. No.
But LeBron can be the catalyst to make that happen.
No. It's a situation where, just examples of throwing teams out. Let's just say Milwaukee and Toronto goes to 7 games. I'm like, okay, it was kind of entertaining, but I'm like, they're not afraid. He's not afraid to go win the finals. He's not afraid to go win the finals. So it just seems like a lot of wasted time.
But think about this. Think about if you have a new blood and a new team that goes into the finals against a team in the West, right?
You know what it is, really?
And seeing that new blood in there is also going to look better for the NBA. You're going to say, we finally got some new blood in there. And think about how big it would be if you had the East. Oh, the East is lopsided, the East is weak, but then they defeat a Titan like Golden State. Everyone's going to lose their minds. Everyone's going to start and be like, whoa,
but
snap.
The know what it really is star power. The East has no star power.
Has no star power whatsoever.
I feel like it could be a catalyst to get their weight up.
But if you
put LeBron in the West, right, and you have everything going on in the West, it's not guaranteed Golden State every time.
No. I'm saying what is guaranteed is whatever team LeBron is on and Golden State in the Western Conference Final.
But you're not going to have them beating each other all the time. But it'll stay at the Western Conference Final.
But that's the real final. That would be the real NBA Finals
until the team on the East beats that team in the finals.
A star has to go over there. There's no star that wants to go over there now.
No, not real.
I think it's gonna. It would suck maybe for a season or two, but I think within time the East would be forced to have to get their way up.
But
I don't think so because again, you have to think about it's. The only attractive place that you would want to go in the East would be Miami.
Miami, that's
and maybe
like,
New York for the market.
Maybe.
But that team is
maybe.
the team is so a mess from organization on down.
You don't think the Celtics would be a good place to go?
Wow.
They've had a good track record for a while.
The reason why the West is like this is for simple reasons of geography.
Geography.
It's California's nicer longer.
Nicer longer.
You know what I'm saying? That's why all of them are in California.
It's Hollywood, pretty much. And
the only other team that's like not a California team who's good in the West, you could say San Antonio, but that's because they're winning tradition.
I think the Rockets are pretty good.
Rockets
I even think the OKC has potential. Russell Westbrook can't be playing like
the reason why no one's gonna go over there
is because of Russell.
It's because of Russell and the
because
fact
of geography. No one wants to go to Oklahoma.
No one wants to go to Oklahoma. That's I'm just saying.
But they should be way better than they are but they're not, and it's because of geography. It's because I don't know if I want to spend. I don't want to go over there. I got to raise my kids in Oklahoma City. I'm obviously going to be a minority.
Yeah, that's
and I don't know. So I'm not raising my kids in Oklahoma City. There's more opportunities.
There's more opportunity there
in the West, Texas and California.
Texas and California, and also they're like.
I just don't think that if LeBron goes to the West, right? I just don't see the East being terrible and cursed for super long time. It's not like if he leaves to the West and you have that go in the West and the East is stagnant. Or in the East is weak, that they're just gonna stay stagnant forever. At a certain point in time, there's gonna have to shuffle. There's gonna be things. I feel like it'd be something
players
that
retire.
Players retire.
You get superstars coming up. You got players from the West coming over to the East. I mean, it could be the catalyst that forces. It says, look, the West is way too congested right now. The West got way too much going on.
Way too loaded.
The West is too much to be.
Way too loaded.
Let's have some players switch over. We have some money over here. Why don't you come over here? Why don't we shuffle it up?
Yeah,
it could be the catalyst to make everything start to shuffle and people aren't having the same complaint.
But it needs to be more abundant and everything. And probably the only West to East transition I saw was Griffin, the Pistons.
But he's not staying there because he's not.
That's it's Detroit, and that dude.
Nobody wants to play in Detroit.
Yeah, so all I'm saying is that it's a situation where I suggested just out of nowhere. They said as a joke, yo man, it's like the friggin' Justice League versus the YMCA team. So my suggestion is that why didn't they just do a number one seed and a number one seed to the 16th seed, where the 16 teams with the best records make the playoffs and everything, and so we don't make it as
the solver of this problem is time. Because the thing in the East, all their stars are way younger. They're 10 years younger. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? So by default,
and basketball is different than like football.
Yeah,
because once you get experience, that's when you start becoming a true superstar.
It is.
And the West, all their stars are older. You know what I'm saying? So they're going to be out of the league sooner. So which leaves, if they stay now, if they start coming to the West because they don't like cold Philadelphia, you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Then it's going to be a problem. But all the good teams in the East are all way younger. Mm-hmm. So which means by default, by the time the Western stars age out, it's going to be the East's turn. Mm-hmm. Yeah. But like I said, everyone wants to come West purely for the weather. And
also that's the thing.
The only other place that you stay in the East is Miami.
That's really about it.
Miami
and New York for the market because it's New York.
I feel like New York is a cool place to play ball. I even think Chicago would be a cool place to play ball at. But anyway, all right. Well, I guess that wraps up today's episode of Richmond Real Talk. I want to go ahead and give another shout out to my talkers and the people that have joined me. I'm going to go ahead and give a shout out to Lawrence and give a shout out to Creighton.
Thanks for having us, man. We enjoyed it.
You're welcome.
Yeah. This was a really long one.
It was a good one, though.
I think this is the longest one we had, but there's a lot of good points here. I'll be surprised if Austin cuts out any of this right now.
Yeah.
This is a really good one. And again, I'm your host, DJ Silver, and I'm going to go ahead and conclude this and sign off. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in and listening to us. Hopefully, we can get this promoted a little bit more.
Peace.
Out.